Inaugural flight to Kagamuga Airport on schedule. NGO group calls for shift in government agenda. And 73,000 grade 10 students sit for exams.
This is National EMTV News with Jeremy Mogi.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for Monday's news. The National Airports Corporation today announced the completion of the runway pavement strengthening works at the Kagamuga International Airport. The Falcon 100 will make its first landing in Mount Hagen tomorrow. NAC Acting Managing Director Ephraim Wasem inspected the runway today and made this announcement.
The Kagamuga runway pavement strengthening project is valued at 131 million kina. After 13 months of strengthening works to the existing pavement, jet aircrafts will resume services tomorrow. NAC Acting MD Ephraim Wasem says the upgrading of the pavement will ensure the longevity of the runway as well as to cater for the higher demand of travelling passengers during peak periods to and from Mount Hagen.
Completion of the works will now give a much needed boost to the airport as the nation picks up from the impact of COVID-19. Furthermore, with the Mount Hagen airport being a vital link to the other provinces in the Upper Highlands region, the upgrade of the pavement was much needed to ensure the longevity of the runway.
The projects are within the NAC's objectives to ensure that all the 22 national airports operate in secure airdrome environment. Kagamuga International Airport also benefited from the constructing of a modern terminal under the national government and NAC CAPID program. The runway pavement strengthening, including other airport works, will be fully completed in March next year.
With the handing over of the runway now, the only outstanding works they have are the landside works, which are the ones we see on that side. And the most critical item, the last item that they will be delivering in March next year is the tower, the new control tower, which will replace Hagen's current tower.
Contractor ESA Projects PNG Limited constructed the strengthening of the deteriorated existing pavement, taxiways and runways. They also widened the runway strip, constructed a new air traffic control tower, new airport fire station, airport staff houses, and maintenance of the airport yard and workshop. Today, they handed over the staff house keys to NAC.
We are thankful to Civil Aviation team to give us opportunity to show us credibility after Como. So, thank you very much.
The pavement strengthening is capable of accommodating Boeing 747. However, the length is not enough for bigger planes to turn. In future, when aircraft companies decide to bring in bigger planes, NAC will extend its runway. Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News, Mount Hagen.
A new report released by Act Now and its partners calls for a shift in PNG's development agendas. The report, titled From Extraction to Inclusion, demands that the people are placed at the center of development policies.
The report From Extraction to Inclusion analyzed the country's economic and development performances since independence. The main finding of the report is that the PNG economy has relied on the large-scale extraction of abundant minerals and other natural resources under the illusion it will improve the lives of its citizens, yet on most indicators, PNG is faring worse than other Pacific neighbors, and any progress that has been achieved does not reflect the huge value of the resources extracted.
We have logging, we have mining, we have oil palm, we have huge resource extractions that are currently happening and are mostly owned by foreigners. One of the main findings of the report is that it has contributed very less to the revenue of this country since independence.
The report also details how extractive operations often involve widespread human rights abuses. Communities opposing extractive projects face repression, threats, and violence.
The people should be very much at the center of, should be made very much at the center of our development pathway. Having said that, is that when you put people in the center of development, the government should not attack the customer, our customary landowners, or the customary lands, because customary land is very much where our livelihood is based on.
From extraction to inclusion calls on the government of PNG to take bold steps, including rejecting new large-scale resource extraction projects, halting the expansion of palm oil, and banning round log exports. The priority, the report suggests, should be public policy and investment in appropriate agriculture that benefits farmers, feeds the country, and uses natural resources in a responsible way.
So generally there should be really a big shift in policy approach, in our investment approach. So that is what the government should be looking at. So when you're talking about looking at shifting in the policy approach in terms of our development, agriculture is something that is very much part of our being. Making agriculture a priority means that the government has to encourage, promote, put funds where necessary to encourage Papua New Guineans use their land to make a living.
The report also recommends that local communities should be placed at the heart of future forest management and that downstream processing of sustainably and ethically produced timber products should replace the current focus on round log exports. From Extraction to Inclusion is a joint publication between Act Now, Jubilee Australia, and Auckland Institute. Shamin Poreambe, National EMTV News.
A faction of landowners in Porgera are demanding for Barrick to pay environment damages before operating the mine again. Spokesperson Jonathan Pereira says their demands have been put forward to the state and Barrick Gold Limited in a letter. The landowners say legacy issues like water problems, power supply, environmental damages, among others, have not been addressed in the last 30 years. A demand of $13 billion is the price tag for compensation. The Porgera landowners are adamant that the state and developer must consider them as the third party in negotiations to reopen the mine.
Our position is that we have told Barrick, first and foremost, to pay the landowners' claims as a condition for returning to Porgera. There are three parties to Porgera mine, and two parties cannot undermine the third party, which is the landowners. Landowners' interests and aspirations must be met in order to securing the social license. Otherwise, there will be no mine.
Still ahead on National EMTV News, grade 10 students sit for the Year 10 exams, new science lab for West Okapa in the Eastern Highlands, and a new taxi service to boost transport in the nation's capital. Stay with us. Welcome back. Grade 10 students around the country are sitting for their final exams this week. They started with mathematics and personal development today and will finish off with English on Friday. Over 73,000 grade 10 students are sitting for their exams nationwide.
EMTV visited 3 schools in the nation's capital that had their grade 10 students sitting for their national examinations. Jubilee Catholic Secondary School saw a total of 380 grade 10 students, while Gordon Secondary and Caritas Technical Secondary School had more than 500 grade 10s sitting for their exams. They began with mathematics and personal development today. Tomorrow, they will sit for social science and arts, science and design and technology subjects on Wednesday, business studies and agriculture on Thursday, and conclude on Friday with English. The Education Department last week warned students teachers and schools not to cheat in examinations. Education Secretary Dr. Combra reminded everyone that the penalty for cheating or assisting to cheat is non-certification, and all malpractices must be reported to the Measurement Services Division for analysis and action.
Despite COVID-19 affecting learning for many students around the country, more than 73,000 grade 10 students set for the national examinations today. Yana Zoriri, National EMTV News.
A school in West Okapa of Eastern Highlands has a new science laboratory. The lab was opened by Education Minister Joseph Yopi Yopi in front of the local authority, students, parents and stakeholders. The science lab is the first in the West Okapa area. Minister Yopi Yopi says the department will equip the building with necessary learning facilities for students to use.
Officers from the Education Department accompanied the delegation to remote Okapa to open the new science lab. The building is a count of funding. The Education Minister says with education the focus of the government, supporting schools is crucial.
Put him all Alvin 1 school long supplying all science equipment. We're close to now, but you put him long tender. Napa mipla kisim all the science equipment. Napa mipla salimika. Long, at least equipping all classrooms for people building long.
The science lab is the first in the West Okapa area. According to the local MP, the west part of the electorate has been receiving minimal attention by levels of government. MP Solomon says this time the DDA will assist all schools with better and improved learning facilities.
Plenty high schools will come up into all need basic infrastructure, all need dormitory, all need computer labs. All need science lab, all this like you need work one time now you make it happen.
Eastern Highlands Governor Peter Numu says the provincial government wants to build better facilities for all schools. Governor Numu says despite mixed results in the provincial grading, improving learning facilities is key. He says the science lab must be taken care of.
Up in standard block school, same time put in infrastructure. So all up area where school people have in standard block and inside the province. And more time infrastructure one time go in check. Me play no up standard nothing. All around the province, this the government play plan and giving more focus no education. No come up in quality education, quality students play you mean here must go out.
Jack Lapower Jr., National EMTV News.
The visit of the British High Commissioner to PNG to the Eastern Highlands province is seen as the rebirth of colonial ties between the governments of Papua New Guinea and Great Britain. High Commissioner Keith Scott, who was in Goroka recently, said the government of Great Britain, through the European Union, is joining hands with other partners to contribute to the development of Papua New Guinea.
The two-day visit to Eastern Highlands was for the purpose of the British High Commissioner to observe the progress of work done at the community level. Work that is funded at over 5.4 million kina from the people of Great Britain through the UK aid. Other sectors where the British government is interested to develop in PNG includes trade and environment.
But we're also helping out on the environment front, the climate. Again, it's for the future. My generation perhaps didn't give as much attention to fighting the challenges of climate. The challenge will fall to you and the next generation, and we need to help you fight that. And then the final thing we're looking at, I think, is trade. And as I mentioned to the Governor this morning, we're very keen to get more of the coffee from Goroka and Eastern Highlands in the shops in the United Kingdom.
Since withdrawing from the European Union, this is one of the first steps Great Britain is taking towards supporting local communities. However, this is not the first time the High Commissioner has come to Eastern Highlands Province. And now, during his third visit, the High Commissioner says he has been treated like a superstar.
You will see I've got the sun of Goroka on my face and I've got the mud of Matega on my shoes. And that's fantastic, because that's the only way I can understand A, where British money is going, and B, the challenges you, Governor, and your people face. So I'm absolutely delighted to get away from the desk, away from the talk and the reading the the strategy papers in Moresby and get out and see a bit of the community. So I really do thank everyone around this table for their role in that.
In the two different schools the British High Commissioner visited, he presented rugby balls to the students to enjoy a game of rugby. Kagamuga, National EMTV News.
The CleanPella community project aimed at improving a list of criteria that is being taught to locals in Goroka district is seeing improvement. Locals in Matega village in the Gahuku LLG have become the first out of the targeted 200 communities to receive an open defecation-free certificate. It's a certificate showing that Matega community has successfully adopted a list of criteria from building proper pit toilets and installing hand washing stations.
Matega community has for many years lacked proper pit toilets. Thus, villagers use the bushes to dispose of human waste. The HANLT practice has continued until recently. Through awareness and education, each household is now building proper pit toilet facilities. Taught to the community by Touching the Untouchable, a local NGO with support from Oxfam and UNICEF.
For the CleanPella community project, the donation has gone further into buying Sato pen. Those are small devices that are used in ventilated pit toilets in the communities and villages.
Monica Jeff, a local mother, says with the introduction of the Healthy Village concept, the community has seen a decrease in the number of children falling sick.
Toilet desla narapla nupla toilet ya em nautasal mi bla wokim na all pla toilet ya mi bla yusim na time mi bla yusim desla toilet em mi bla looking flies em run away blue lang too em run away also now mi stop ya mi no feel one plus sick. Mr.
Matega village is the first community out of the targeted 200 communities in Goroka district to receive its open defecation-free certificate through the CleanPella community project. The certificate presented by the British High Commissioner to PNG, Keith Scott, means the community has complied with the 10 health criteria.
It's much more interesting to be amongst the real communities in Papua New Guinea, so I'm really honoured to be here and I thank you from the bottom of my heart for your welcome. Now I cut the ribbon.
In 2015, the national government, through the Water and Sanitation Program, aims to make clean water supply accessible to more people and provide proper sanitation facilities at community levels come 2030.
We want to empower our local NGOs and our partners, especially at the district level and at the provincial level, so that they can take on board whatever interventions that is carrying on within the WAS program.
In Matega, each family have now built proper pit toilets with hand washing stations nearby. Lids have been made for these pit toilets to prevent light and flies from entering the pit, and proper ventilation pipes were also built to minimize bad odor.
The hardworking of TTU so far reached 50 communities which achieved the ODF status, open defecation free, and they are ready to be certified.
Apart from receiving the ODF certificate, a new signboard was put up in Matega village to resemble a big achievement for the community as a village.
Friday, 16th of October 2020. Ase Gopa Gopa Ramiro.
Kagamuga, National EMTV News.
Taking the taxi business in PNG to a whole new level is our next story. A newly registered taxi company in Port Moresby is using technology to ensure passengers not only ride in comfort, but also safety. Each taxi is installed with a GPS tracker. These security features have landed them a deal with one of the biggest retail businesses in PNG.
Odash Taxi is not some agent-owned taxi business as the name would suggest. Odash stands for On-Demand Express Services Hub. This taxi business is owned by two Papua New Guineans who wanted to transform the taxi business in the country. Isaac Gypsy is the founder of Odash Taxi.
Whoever wants to use our service, we have that opportunity to provide it a bit more safer, cheaper and convenient. So that's basically our approach to at least improve and modernize the public transport service in Port Moresby City.
The taxi service boasts GPS trackers and an app for security purposes. The app allows you to book a taxi or immediately alert the management if there is trouble. Odash currently has 140 vehicles operating in Port Moresby with GPS tracking system.
So in terms of affordability, I think in Port Moresby, we come number one because we follow the standard ICCC rate that is set by the government. And we have minimum standard requirement that these taxis must meet before we register them on our platform.
Michael and Isaac were speaking during the announcement of their partnership with CPL recently.
We actually started on this about 5 or 6 months ago as a small, we took over from one shop to see if a small trial to see if it works, and then started rolling out, and now we've actually rolled that out to all our 9 supermarkets in Port Moresby. And the staff love it. The staff actually get home a lot faster.
And I would like to give a special thank you to CPL, especially at this time when COVID-19 is affecting a lot of small businesses in the country.
Michael Ipa invested in this business with Isaac after 15 other investors Isaac approached turned him down. Isaac's perseverance now sees this partnership with one of PNG's biggest retail companies. Apart from taxi services, Odash also offers vehicles for hire or rent. They not only promise comfort but also safety and security.
In terms of safety, when you use Odash, we know exactly which driver is taking you from which point to which point. And for CPL and our partnership, the safety of not only your staff dropped off, but also your customers. We exactly know who is taking your customers to where.
In addition to the SOS button in our app, we also have that partnership with the NCDC police, where once we receive the alert, we let our contact person within NCDC police know so that they can actually provide timely response.
The Odash app can be downloaded through Google Play Store. For those who want to know more about the taxi company, they have a website and also a Facebook page. Shamin Poreambeb, National EMTV News.
And now looking at the NASFund market report, the kina closed 5 points lower at $0.2860 US dollars in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina is buying $0.2785 US dollars, $0.3891 Australian dollars, $0.2297 euro, and 28.70 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold is trading lower. Coffee and copper closed lower and cocoa closed higher. Crude oil is trading higher, palm oil and copper closed lower. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 112.11 points higher. The ASX 200 is trading at 77.00 points higher, and the All Ordinaries is trading at 47.77 points higher. National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching Monday's news. The members of the public in Leh and around Morobe said it has been very difficult for them to access the government offices located inside the provincial headquarters. The security guards told them that there's a gate policy that was recently set by the provincial administration to control the movement of public servants and the public. The gate policy comes 2 weeks after the commissioning of Morobe's new car park and fencing project, at a cost of 1.2 million kina.
Members of the public in Leh and around Morobe flooded to the MPG vehicles entry and exit gate and were denied entry because the pedestrian gate, which they normally access, was closed following a gate policy set by the administration.
Mipla now purposely Mipla come and meeting the wapi goal for mine. Na mina say why or closes the main gate because main office the Mipla Morobe.
Look, more than time we bring and now one up stand now. Look, more than time we bring.
People Mipla stop, no Mipla stop. Mipla go come na Christmas one time Mipla saving player.
Board chairman of a school in CSC Tewai CSC district of Morobe said he needs to return back to his school but couldn't because he still has to see the education division concerning issues affecting his school.
Almost house the situation does a of island na kam does a solwara sip isa nogade. So almost allow me blog slakadol traveling does a kam through him does a go kam so. Why government makes a policy blow le mino good blow trangu me plenty people le me does a kam all teachers now all chairman board chairman all schools.
Before me been like you seem there's a nupla entry in our gates from come inside. Really awareness should have been done. Yeah. Now I think so was me walking my awareness a week ago. All people like seem some thing now. Then I think we won't have that sort of commotion. People not knowing what is going and what is happening. So me talk sorry along all those that have come in from the other districts, outer districts long some services belong out. The offices are open, everybody's here. It's just how when we are controlling gates now, get people to come in and see the divisions and the PPAs and animal officers that all need to look him up.
The new gate policy comes almost 2 weeks after the commissioning of the Morobe provincial government's 1.2 million kina car park and fencing project. According to the Morobe governor's chief of staff, Tokana Hasavi Senior, he was only given the policy this morning from staff from the administration office. Asavi said the gate policy has to be reviewed, followed with a public awareness.
Normally not stopping more people to come inside. Governor did not say that. Governor still wants the people to come in. But you may control him little more.
The fencing in this car park is the first facelift to Morobe's provincial headquarters under the leadership of Morobe Governor Ginsen Saunu. According to Mr. Hasavi, whilst the policy is to control the movement of the public servants and the general public, it has to be convenient and friendly. Julie Badui, Owa, National EMTV News, Leh.
The Port Moresby General Hospital is currently providing intensive care for 2 COVID-19 patients. Hospital CEO Dr. Paki Molumi revealed this, saying 31 COVID-19 patients have been through the isolation facility at the hospital since the first case was reported. In appreciating partners and stakeholders in the COVID-19 response, Dr. Molumi urged everyone to remain vigilant and abide by protocols in place.
Apart from the Rita Flynn isolation facility, the Port Moresby General Hospital has been providing care for COVID-19 patients in NCD over recent months, and this has been mostly providing intensive care for severe cases. Hospital CEO Dr. Molumi says despite challenges, the support from partners and donor agencies has helped a lot. And since the first COVID-19 case was established in PNG, Dr. Molumi says 31 COVID-19 patients have undergone intensive care at the hospital's isolation facility.
Since then, 31 patients have passed through. And currently we have 2 patients admitted in the isolation ward needing specialist care. These are ICU care, critical care. So we have to have full-time staff. We have to have ventilators, oxygen, blood gases have to be done daily. Drugs must be available at the time. So it's a full-time, it's running an ICU care in our isolation ward. So 2 patients are currently admitted, receiving that kind of service.
Speaking at the presentation of life-saving equipment to Port Moresby General Hospital's COVID-19 maternity isolation ward last Friday, Anna Marlson from the World Health Organization in PNG said it is vitally important for people to remain vigilant and continue practicing healthy habits as the risk of transmission in NCD remains high.
Particularly here in the National Capital District, where we do have high levels of transmission, so remaining vigilant against COVID-19 is really important. So of course the mask wearing, the washing hands, avoiding crowded places remains important.
With the global COVID-19 pandemic being a health crisis, partnership and supporting one another during the pandemic is seen as important by those in the health sector of PNG, which is resulting in continuous support from donor agencies in the sector.
An unprecedented event, and only working together can we overcome this together.
Food security and nutrition are equally important as far as the response to COVID-19 is concerned. The agriculture sector, therefore, has become an important element of not only providing sustenance to life, but a healthy way of living life. This was highlighted during the celebration of annual World Food Day last Friday.
Our work has become so much more important as we try to ensure that through our work, of course, that those who are more vulnerable in this situation have access to healthy diets and nutritional information.
Dennis Orere, National EMTV News.
Chugai Sports is next. Fideli Sukino with all the updates from the Intercity Cup.
Thank you, Jeremy. Hela Wigmen are the champions after beating favourites Lace Next Tigers. Details after the break. Stay with us.
Chugai Sports.
Good night and welcome to Chugai Sports. The Croton Hela Wigmen are the champions of the 2020 Digicel Cup competition after edging the favourites Lace Next Tigers yesterday in Port Moresby in the grand final. The Croton Hela Wigmen sealed a grand final victory, coming from behind to snatch the win 16 points to 14. The Croton Hela Wigmen yesterday confirmed their status as the top team in this year's competition. The team defeating the defending premiers, the Lace Next Tigers, 16 points to 14 in front of a full house at the Sir John Guy Stadium. The team was presented their medals by the Prime Minister of Papua New Guinea, who is also the patron of the club, James Morobe. Coach of the Hela Wigmen, Charlie Wabo, said he trusted the team to take home the grand final prize.
People believe in trust all Maggie since day one. How they work hard, training, come game time, all putting perform trust also.
Wabo added that his players' performances shows that the team has some great potential going into the future.
Most of the boys, team now stop. There were plenty of them young, up and coming ones. Like me, walk me looking now, all stop plenty potential stop inside also. I believe.
And Papua New Guinea Rugby Football League Chairman Sandy Saka has thrown his support behind the CIPIC bid for a unified CIPIC team to participate in the Intercity Cup competition into the future. Sandy Saka, the chairman of the Papua New Guinea Rugby Football League, was impressed with the CIPIC Pride bid to participate in the Digicel Cup competition.
You see the way your logo is designed, it speaks to your heritage, where you're from. And that's something that the CIPIC people can be proud of. But pride also refers to a pack of lions. When a group of lions are traveling together, we call them a pride.
Sandis, who was speaking at the fundraising dinner of the CIPIC bid, was impressed with the level of partnership and commitment shown for the cause.
From a PNGRFL perspective, we are encouraged to see the level of partnership that this initiative has brought together. And success is built on partnerships, especially in what you're trying to do. So the journey you've started, it's on the right note, and we can see that you will succeed in whatever you're trying to achieve.
Sandy said that while he was the chairman of the PNGRFL, he was not the one who would be making the decisions for interested teams. Instead, he was there to show support.
I am not going to say that. Unfortunately, Graham and me are not the ones that will make the decision, but us being here shows our support and our belief that the game needs to get into Sepik for it to actually be the national sport.
Chairman of the Sepik Pride bid, former Kumul player and coach John Wagambi, said the Sepik bid team has a clear vision for a development pathway in the sport of rugby league in their home province.
We will start from the juniors, schools. We will try and partner with the ARL or NRL or whatever they call them, Orlando Magmomia, because they've got a system in place, so maybe we can partner with them and utilize best practices in order to develop our sport. And from my point of view, once I get it right with Sepik Pride in rugby league, by me, how shall I put it, in English also, the way me permeate Imi spirit nalpa sports inside long is Sepik province.
Before closing his speech, Sandy Saka made a promise to the Sepik Pride bid team.
Sepik is a place that we wanted to break into. And you have Graham, myself, you have my two governors and the leaders and the organizing committee. I made a commitment to Bradley when he started his journey that before I leave as chairman, we will put the sports, not my footprint, rugby league footprint in Sepik.
And Trukai Sports continues with rugby union abroad after the break.
Trukai Sports.
And welcome back to Trukai Sports. To rugby union abroad, the All Blacks rookie Caleb Clark has reached another gear in the 24 hours since his outstanding debut at Eden Park. But the 21-year-old is keeping it real in the wake of yesterday's All Blacks win.
If Caleb Clark's aware of his newfound stardom, he doesn't show it.
Hello, everybody.
Unfazed as ever by the extra attention this morning, you quickly learn that's just him.
I just love the fact that he's come into this environment as a young kid and just been himself from day one. He wakes up every morning and he's always smiling and jumping around.
Although game day was a slightly different story.
I was quite broken sleep, both waking up with feelings of excitement and feelings of nervousness.
From morning nerves to afternoon nirvana for the 21-year-old who ran 123 metres on his home ground, shrugged off would-be tacklers and received a standing ovation as he left the field.
I think I got so caught up in the moment I wanted to jog and clap everyone else as well, but then I started cramping, so I had to walk. So yeah, it was real cool.
The plaudits for the Mount Albert grammar product pouring in. There's just a taste of what's being said about him in New Zealand and Australian media. And yes, there have already been early comparisons to Jonah Lomu.
What the world wants to say, that's their business. He's grounded, he's got a lot of self-belief and self-awareness of himself, and he knows it's a fickle world. You get headlines one day and you get shot down the next.
Among those no doubt helping keep him grounded, Dad Ironi.
I just saw his face up on the screen half the time, So it was quite funny. I didn't know where he was sitting, but it was just cool having them there.
Though there was one person he says made it even more special after the passing of his grandfather earlier this year.
When I saw my nan, I think that's when the waterworks started, and so yeah, just wanted to just always play for him, and yeah, it was just awesome.
Now after such an emotional roller coaster,
bye guys, have a good day.
Some deserved days off before the All Blacks and their latest star head for Australia on Sunday.
And that story wraps up Trukai Sports. Jeremy will be back with the weather report for the next 24 hours. Bye for now.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoniPlus. With you always.
Quick look at the weather for tonight and the next 24 hours. Port Moresby and Popondetta. Mostly cloudy with a chance of afternoon showers expected. While in Daro and Alotau, mostly fine weather with light to moderate southeast winds. Finally, in Kerema, morning rain showers ease in for a cloudy day and a high of 30 degrees.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
That's the way it is, beginning another working week this Monday, the 19th of October 2020. From the news team, I am Jeremy Moggy. Good night.